Welcome to the Babbling Pastor podcast with probably one of the most dedicated co-hosts I have ever met in my entire life. I'm Michael. This is,
I'm Rob.
yes. And the reason I say that he's a dedicated co-host, just so you know that what kind of top tier level dedication this man has. It is 5 o'clock where he is at. Is that correct? 5 o'clock where you're at? 5 a.m. in the
Yeah,
morning? 5
something.
a.m.
Yep.
Yeah, 5 in the morning, and he's outside his house because he's trying to because this is when we record, guys. So I feel a little spoiled given the fact that I am not outside and you are, but the dedication level is great. So anyway, welcome to the Babbling Pastor podcast, where we only bring you top tier quality content with the most dedicated hosts you've ever had in your whole life. So yes.
Yeah.
How you doing, Rob? Good?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, I guess I can't see that it's beautiful, but I'm assuming it's beautiful outside today. It's not too cold yet.
Oh, that's
It's like
true.
55
Yeah.
degrees. So it's basically
Wow. Yeah, that's where it's
summer
55
still,
here, right? Hold on, what is it? Actually, it's 60 here, so I got 5 degrees on you. So, no big deal.
Wow.
You're closer to Canada, but whatever, no big deal.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there's no reason to insult me.
so today we're going to get right into it. We are back. We are back. Hey, they're going to be the 50 what they're going to be part of the United States. They're going to be part. We're going to bring them in,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
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 I love
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen so Wes Huff, if you guys know who Wes Huff is, he lives in Canada and he's made a couple of videos where he's like, "No, thank you. We don't want like So I think most Canadians are like, "That's cool. We're our own sovereign nation, no big deal."
Yeah.
So
We're good.
today,
We're good.
yeah. Today we are going to be back at reviewing some so I've seen this clip briefly as I've been doom scrolling on X, but I haven't actually watched it. But the clip we're going to be looking at reminds me a lot of like what small memories I have of ET. And so let's go over. Do you want to actually before the big reveal, do you want to give us any background to this at all?
Um no, I think that it'll be perfect. Just as it is. I think that
Okay.
we'll be blessed by it. Um, and I look forward to talking about it and maybe even converting. This is
Okay.
pretty good stuff.
Okay. So here we go. This is I don't know. It says life site. I'm not sure exactly what where this comes from, but here we. Oh no, here we go. That's the Pope, everyone. That is the Pope.
And that is a block of ice, everyone.
Oh,
A big chunk of
ice.
ice. It's
Wow.
happening.
Okay, so just for okay, so if this is some blessing of the water thing, right? Isn't that what is happening? Something I saw briefly, something about blessing water, correct?
Yeah, so they had this big climate change deal, and some other people were there as well, and did some like I didn't watch the whole thing, but it seemed actually kind of pagan. um like there were some others that were there that were it was like almost chanting kind of um or or yeah, I don't know, some Mother Earth types, and he's there and he blesses this block of ice. I guess that block is going to be I wonder if they're going to put that back in the like throw it at a glacier or something to turn
The
things
power of
around, or
Christ
what the
compels
deal is
you.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The power
right.
of Christ compels you as we
Yeah.
chunk this at whatever. Yeah.
I just saw that and
Huh.
I thought that that's really interesting. I know whenever he first became the Pope, right? Now, I'm I'm not a papist by any stretch of the imagination. I'm proudly reformed, um but when he first became the Pope, there were those who um we're definitely hopeful that, like, okay, well, at least maybe he won't be Pope Francis, right? Because I mean, that dude was just straight up. Uh, he was a Marxist, essentially, right?
Okay.
Um, but there was some hope, I guess, because some conservative things that this guy said or whatever. But I think um, it's just interesting to me that this happened. That he took this time to bless a block of ice um, at at a climate change event. Um, there's so many things going on that, if I'm Peter 2.0, right? Um, I feel like there would be more important things going on, like, like the thousands upon thousands of Christians in Nigeria getting slaughtered, like that
Okay,
might be
so
important.
no joke.
Or
I'm going through the comment section of that, and
yeah, yeah,
this is what's posted. So it's Christians being murdered by Muslims. Nah, climate change event. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah,
Oh wow.
like, well, and not only that, like there are plenty of things going on in our world that are
Yeah.
even worldwide going on in our world
Hmm.
that you would expect that Peter 2.0 would have something to say about. Uh and yeah, I don't know. I just thought, yeah,
Yeah.
this isn't better than Pope Francis, folks. This is just another, rendition of a guy who doesn't know the gospel.
It's very the Peter 2.0 thing is fun. I like that. Let's keep using that. But man, there's a lot. All right, which direction do I want to go here? So, um, like you said, it is weird. I don't know. Now, again, I don't follow the Pope, so I have no clue if that meme is correct. Like, if the Pope's even mentioned the Christians being murdered, or not. But it would be wild if he hadn't. But the idea that going and blessing, I'm sure there's some Catholics that may find this that come to the comments and be like, well, this is what he was really doing. But at the end of the day, he was laying a hand on a block of ice at a climate change event that was held at the Vatican. So they're like, there are ways to be like a conservationalist that don't require that, right? I mean, so for example, we got guys that go to our church. He he that was like he was an arborist. Like that's what he went to college for. That's like his whole career was making sure like there was conservation in the way that you like that within our state that people dealt with like
Church.
how they, how they built things, and all of it was like, how do we make sure that this is like we don't destroy everything while we're doing this? That was his whole job. And so like there is a sense in which you could be like, okay, yeah, we should be responsible with the resources God gave us. And then there's laying hands on a block of ice and praying for it or blessing it. I suppose he wasn't praying for it. But there is a bit, I think it is interesting to go down this idea of the path of like this paganism sort of idea, like this mother earth sort of thing. One of the things that again, I don't, and we've done a few episodes on this before where we talk about some Catholic stuff. I'm not like I don't follow what Catholics do now. I don't really care what Catholics do now. It has been interesting within church history to see how what Catholics have done, but now it is very it does strike me. I mean, even I guess some of the early Catholic stuff is a little pagan as well. But it is very interesting how those two things sort of cross over. There's a lot of like ecumenicalism with people that are not, that don't understand the gospel, that don't know the gospel, that are actively worshiping demons. And so you're just like, where's the cutoff? Like, where do we say, right? If I was a Catholic, which I am not, where is the cutoff point where a Catholic would say, I believe we should conserve the things that God gave us versus like maybe this is a step too far. Maybe this isn't a good idea, right? This is where oh man, there's a lot of directions we could go with this. It's really weird for me that, like you said, the person that would claim to be within, the vicar of Rome, Peter 2.0, the one that's supposed to be leading the church that can literally speak things and change the entire doctrine, that well, that last statement may be a little too far, but
That last
the
statement, yeah, is
but
it ironically though can be sort of true.
it's sort of, yeah. Again, it would.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could parse out, what I'm right and wrong there on. But the point is that somebody like that would host something that is very pagan within its like core at the Vatican. It's just weird that that would be the way that that would go down. And I think it does send sort of this message more so than, hey, Jesus is the savior of the world, the reconciler of all mankind. We are to be, his hands and feet here. It's like, well, here's a block of ice. Just pray for it. Like, it's just weird. It's just a weird thing to do. It's actually, we're gonna have another episode where I have a video that is also like equally weird in a different Protestant way. But it's just weird that people, like, that's where we gravitate toward, even though like we have the gospel, like a clear cut, like, this is what it is. We're still like, but we'd like to do that. Right? It's just Israel again. It's like, hey, we were delivered. Let's make a golden calf, guys. It's like, it's just so strange to me.
Yeah, this is I just found out he was at a Raising Hope for Climate Justice International Conference. That's what that was.
Okay.
For climate justice.
Okay,
It would
well,
be
there you go.
interesting research to see what that even means. Climate justice.
I'm gonna look it up real quick. Climate justice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole thing and to your very brief you weren't even really trying to make a point, but when you said this, but when you were scrolling through your statement there and you said that you had something that was equally bothersome or however you worded it that was Protestant. Like this isn't necessarily a let's attack Catholicism thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um because Protestants we have several people who are just as crazy. I think the only thing uh that would maybe be more of a um dig against Roman Catholicism is that like this is supposed to be their guy, right? Like this is the worldwide leader of Roman Catholicism, and uh and and look at it. Like, it's
Yeah.
pretty
But
dumb.
that, I
Uh
mean, I do like your example. It's like, where's the manager? It's that guy. The guy praying over the
yeah,
ice,
right.
that's the manager. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Managing what? And
Okay, so
it's not
go ahead.
only yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so climate justice, according to the internet, which are highly
Oh,
reliable and never wrong,
all right.
climate
Yeah.
justice is the understanding that climate change has unequal impacts, disproportionately harming poor, marginalized, and disinvested communities who are often the least responsible for the initial action that caused the change. So climate justice is
That the
very
funny thing about that is that it sounds like they've nailed down what the initial action that caused climate change is.
well. It's the
And I'm sure
apparently
it's like my truck, I suppose.
We don't have that in the definition yet. I'm sure they are. I'm
Well,
sure. I'm sure it's something.
yeah.
Examples of
You know,
climate justice. Here we go. Here's one example to give us a clear cut idea of
okay.
what
All right,
just to
good.
give us, because I think this will help us. Because again, if you're new to this channel, guys, this is your first episode. This is our organization. So just heads up,
Oh
this is
yeah.
where we're at.
Yep.
But
Super duper.
to give context for this, right? So what the Pope is essentially doing, according to what we've found so far, is praying over or blessing. Sorry, I don't want to confuse terms. Blessing a block of ice in the name of climate justice, which is the I'm sorry, get back. It's the action intended to ensure the efforts to mitigate climate change on those that are disproportionately affected. Here's one example. I'm going to hold my mic up because I have to keep looking up because my screen's up top. Climate justice examples include communities of color in California Bay oil, the California Bay Area oil refinery fighting petroleum pollution and its health impacts on them directly. Other examples are wealthy nations reducing emissions and funding to ensure that that effect does not affect disproportionately poorer nations. So it's basically rich. It's yeah. It's basically it goes back to the social justice thing is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's rich people bad, poor people good innately by the very nature of how society is. Yeah, that's essentially what I mean. Again, I it's okay. I have an idea of where I think I want to go, but you go first.
Um, I was just gonna say, I just, I just got a, I just got this. Um, I got Grok to type out the words that the Pope spoke just after this,
Oh, okay, excellent. Yes,
um,
this will be helpful.
or just before this. So I'm gonna read the statement that he made. Okay, he said, I would now like to invite you to stand for the blessing of the waters. Lord of life, bless this water. May it awaken our hearts, cleanse our indifference, soothe our grief, and renew our hope through Christ our Lord. Lord, bless this assembly, this conference with the dialogue we engage in, contain respect for all gathered here and the entire earth community. May we work towards a flourishing of all creation held in being by our Creator through Christ our Lord. Creation awaits our conversion. We commit to raising hope and to continuing to unfold a river of hope. We move from tears to hope, from grief. Let us speak our pledges. Each help us to unfold this river of hope. After each pledge, we invite you to sing the refrain, something in Latin that I don't care to read. But I, so even in that, like there are, I don't know, this
It's very
this
so the thing that is striking is a lot of the language is very with the exception of through Jesus Christ our Lord parts, the language itself is very I don't know. I'll say ecumenical. I probably mean pagan.
Yeah.
Like the idea is it doesn't it's very not it's not offensive in nature, like purposefully. So it's not talking about like how to actually do anything. It's just it's a word salad is all it is. It's not these
Well,
are
yeah.
effective ways by which we can do this thing. It's just help there's pain and grief and terrible it'll help this block of ice symbolically wash away and reunite and rejoin all of us. I mean, the block of ice, there's some language there where the block of ice itself is actually Jesus. Like it does the things that Jesus effectively does. And so it's the washing away
Yeah.
and like it's just a weird mixing together. And so
I I wonder real quickly, I wonder if and this is a sincere question because I don't know. I wonder if as a Roman Catholic, if the Pope blessing the waters, let's say, if that is doing something. You know what I mean? Like you and I, we would see this and go, okay,
it's
that's
true.
stupid.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
But maybe in his mind, in their mind, um, this is effectively doing something that actually, you know, creates change of some sort. I don't know. That'd be an interesting question, I guess, to pose. But
This whole episode's going to be called Two Protestants Trying to Figure Out Why the Pope is Doing What He's Doing and Googling the answer. It's a
yeah,
very long title. But so, real quick. So a papal blessing is a prayer from the Pope as a spiritual father of Catholics, asking God to bestow his grace and protection on a person, object, or event, which makes the blessing set apart for holy use in the acts to conduct for spiritual help. While it elevates the object from profane to sacred, the blessing power comes from God, not the. So now this is a sacred block of ice. It's basically
okay.
it's a sacred block of ice set apart and bestowed with power from God to do whatever, which apparently is whatever the Pope said. Like, so now I just feel like if that was the case, just bless the ocean or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just why the black ice. So, in fact, if I was the Pope and that's what's happening, I would be blessing everything, just everything, man. Like the whole everything, because at that point, it's now not profane. It's set apart and holy. I'm sure there's some rules there that I don't know about. I don't have the rule book. Here's what I want to say really quick. I think all the language demonstrates and all of the video that we saw actually shows is that instead of actually preaching the gospel, having it affect people's lives, and then that effect actually changing how what you do and how you speak and like how you live in the world, it's just like it's just a big virtue signal is all it is. It's you're not you didn't what'd you accomplish doing that? Nothing. You accomplished nothing by doing that. And so instead of actually teaching, like Larry's the guy that I'm talking about that's like a controversial arborist and conservationalist. Like he has like some super like when he talks about it, you can tell he's very passionate about it. And he's got some practical ways that like farmers and people like can all because he's a farmer himself, like can actually conserve what they're doing for the glory of God and what God has given you. I'll take Larry's word on how to do this over the Pope's every day in regard to the fact that it does nothing. So I think there's this weird like activism that the Pope is participating in instead of actually doing something that would be beneficial and helpful. Like, this is a genuine question. Does the Vatican actually have any like paper on how people or Catholics can practically live in their world and conserve the gifts that God has given them, right? Not some quote unquote like woke or activist thing. Just how do you practically take care of the things that God has given you in a way that's sustainable and helpful and good? That's all I need to know. I don't need you blessing no black eyes. I just need like right. So that's my. I think it's just all virtue signaling. I think it's all It's ecumenical virtue signaling that does nothing other than says, "Oh, the Pope checked a box and he did this thing, and hooray, Greta Thunberg can be super pleased with him," even though she still won't be. And so it's just like you're going through all the motions that mean nothing and actually please no one, and it's just so stupid. It's so dumb. I don't know why you. And all I can have in my head playing in the background is E.T. phone home. That's all I hear because that rock looks like the thing from E.T. and I can't get over it. And I'm done. I can't handle it
I
anymore.
just I I think so there's a longer video of this where you can actually hear the things that are said and all of that. But then there's this one point in the video that's a close up of the block of ice and you can see it dripping. And
You're
to me it's
killing
like,
me. You're
yeah,
killing
not
me.
not not quite blessed enough just yet, I guess, to undo what is being done. Um, yeah,
Do
I
they
think,
just throw that block of ice in the sink out back and be like, "Well, that was nice," or do they now
I don't know.
because
Yeah,
because it's a sacred blessed ice? Do they now have to keep it in
yeah,
the fridge at the Vatican? Like, how does the procedure? See, now there's all sorts of things that have to have. I'm crashing out over here over this block ice.
yeah, no, I think that they ought to take that sucker and chuck it at a glacier and see what kind of power this puppy has, you know? And maybe use that to determine, should we keep doing dumb stuff like this, or should we do things that, that actually, matter? I think, like, I'm not on the climate change bus anyway. Of course, the climate's changing. It has since the flood. It's not rocket science, really. Um, but uh, I think I would recommend. Um, what's the book title? You know, have you heard of for anybody who wants to dig a little bit more into the climate change and a biblical view of all of that? There's doggone it. You know the Daryl Harrison and Virgil Walker,
Oh yes,
Michael? Yeah, they
yeah,
did
the
this.
Just Thinking podcast, right? That was their podcast, Just Thinking
Just thinking
podcast.
about climate change, I think it is.
Okay, that would make sense. It would be within their vein of branding. So you can pull it up. Just think, is that what it's called?
A Biblical Theology of Climate Change is what the book is called.
Okay.
Yeah. A Biblical Theology of Climate Change by Daryl Harrison and Virgil Walker. I would recommend that book all day long. It would be helpful because I think a lot of Christians, and maybe an important point that's just related, but not necessarily. It's the backdrop of this clip is the whole climate change debate and what's being talked about there and the different points of view. And I think as Christians, what we always have to say is, what does the Bible say about this? First, are there principles that can be put in place and walked through and obeyed that will be helpful? Or does it say anything blatantly about climate change? We don't know that unless we're studying the word, right? So, and so I think that book would be helpful because they do a good job in it. And it's a topic that a lot of Christians, at least where I'm at, will engage in just enough to say, "Oh, that's stupid," and that's about it. Like we haven't really done any more research than, "Oh, that's stupid." And so, and they're not wrong, right? Like a lot of the things that get stated are pretty stupid, but and it's really cultish. In fact, cultish should do an episode on climate change, but the cult of climate change, maybe. But
Hey, there you go. Not that
well,
anybody from Culties watches this show, but there's an idea. If you happen to stumble
no,
across
I'm
this,
sure they don't. Yeah,
you could. I mean,
yeah,
we don't know because we're higher up on the charts than them anyway. So why do we?
yeah,
Yeah, no.
yeah. I'm
Anyway,
sure that when they see this, they're just going to be thrilled to know that I know who they are, right? Yeah, no, yeah,
like
not
Rob from the
even a little
Bubbly
bit.
Pastor podcast knows me. No, yeah, no. There you
That's
go.
a
So
that they have a lot of good stuff on that podcast, though.
yeah, there is. Yeah, it's good. So we'll link. I'll try to remember to link that book down below. Um, and I'm sure that if you're new to the Babbling Pastor podcast, you will be sure to subscribe because our in-depth resources and research that we've done. But I think what we can both say at the end of the day from this clip is three simple words that really sum all this up, and that was dumb. So I don't know why they did it, but that was dumb. I think sums up everything that we just saw in that very short clip. And I just want to say, as somebody that is on social media a lot, that 20-second clip of the Pope doing that was the dumbest thing you could have clipped. It's out of context. That we have no idea what's happening. There's literally nothing under, like, that whole post just says the Pope blesses ice at climate change thing. And you're like, what is. And if you're, I'll say this and I'll be done. If you're trying to sell anybody I know or myself on, like, you should get involved, that's not the clip, bro. That's not helping. That is the worst ad ever to try to get somebody on board for anything you're doing. But it is very pagan and cult like.
Wow.
So congratulations. I definitely acknowledge that part. So any last words, Rob, before we send the audience off into their day?
Well, unfortunately, if you were to have not clipped that and just watched the whole thing, you still would have been left with a contextualized that was
That's
dumb.
true. That's true. That's true.
But but uh yeah, I think, this is not a solid ad. So I'll, instead of that was dumb, I think my ending will only involve two words, actually.
Ah.
Semper reformanda. Because oofta.
Oofta. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Babbling Pastor podcast. If you're Protestant, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're Catholic, go ahead and double tap that dislike button. And we'll talk to you next week.
Babbling pastors are on